Metamorphosis.
Now we're going to look at the shadow in relationships. Why does love keep hurting the same way? If you want to know where your shadow really lives, don't look at your mindset. Don't look at affirmations you might make. Don't even look at how much work you think you've already done. Look at your relationships. Because relationships do not respond to who you aspire to be. They respond to who you become when you feel unsafe, when you feel unseen, when something you care about might be taken away. You see, relationships don't just bring out your best. They expose what's unfinished. And if you haven't met your shadow yet, your relationships will keep introducing you again and again and again, until you stop looking away. This is because relationships are where the mask slips. Most people enter relationships hoping to be chosen, to finally be enough, to finally be safe, and to finally rest. But intimacy does not protect your wounds, it activates them. Because closeness removes distance, and distance is where coping lives. In relationships, your nervous system takes the lead. Not your logic, not your insight, and not your spiritual language. Your body reacts first. That tightness in your chest when they pull back. That spike of anger when you feel misunderstood. Or the urge to shut down when conflict appears. That's not you regressing. That's memory being reactivated. Your shadow is not childish. It's simply unfinished. And a lot of the time, familiar pain feels like home. Different people, same wound. Same confusion, same heartbreak. Same moment where you whisper to yourself, why does this always happen to me? But here's the truth most people resist. Your shadow doesn't choose what's healthy. It chooses what's familiar. If love once meant unpredictability, stability will feel foreign. If affection was inconsistent, you'll crave intensity over presence. And if closeness once led to loss, your body will flinch when intimacy deepens. Now, this isn't a flaw, it's conditioning. But unexamined conditioning becomes destiny. That is, until you interrupt it. And there are unconscious roles we slip into. In relationships, the shadow rarely shows up as chaos. More often, it shows up as functioning. You might recognize yourself. Perhaps you're the fixer, because being needed feels safer than being known. Or you're the strong one, because vulnerability once led to disappointment. You're the giver, because asking felt dangerous. Or you're the avoider, because closeness once came with a cost. Or perhaps you're the peacemaker, because conflict used to mean loss. Now, these are not personality traits, they are survival strategies. And survival strategies don't disappear just because you grew up. They need to be consciously retired. One of the shadow's most subtle moves in relationships is projection. You don't fall in love with the person, you fall in love with what they represent. Hope, repair, or perhaps the fantasy of finally being chosen. And so you overlook red flags. You explain away discomfort. You attach to potential instead of reality. And when the illusion cracks, you feel blindsided. But what you're often mourning is not the relationship, it's the dream. Projection feels intoxicating. But intimacy requires clarity. And clarity requires shadow work. Now, in shadow work, triggers are the curriculum. Every trigger in a relationship is a lesson waiting to be learned. Not a punishment, not prove you chose wrongly, a message. That surge of panic when you don't hear back. That defensiveness when feedback is given. That urge to disappear when emotions rise. When all of these happen, you need to ask gently, but honestly, what am I afraid will happen right now? When have I felt this before? Or what does this part of me need? Your shadow is not sabotaging you. It's asking for attention. And there are ways that we block intimacy without meaning to. And here's where compassion meets accountability. Many people say they want intimacy, but what they actually want is safety without exposure, or closeness without vulnerability, reassurance without self-revelation. And so the shadow intervenes. You test instead of asking. You withdraw instead of naming what you fear. You criticize instead of expressing hurt. Or perhaps you detach and call it independence. And then you wonder why connection fades. Intimacy requires risk, not recklessness, but presence. And so let's look at some practices. Let's look at shadow work inside relationships. The first practice is about interrupting patterns. When you feel emotionally hijacked, take a moment of pause. Not to suppress, but to slow the moment down. Say to yourself internally, this reaction makes sense, but it's not all about now. That moment of pause creates choice. And then we need to translate what I call the armor that we wear. Every defensive behavior is guarding a vulnerable truth. Anger often guards fear. Control guards helplessness. Withdrawal guards shame. Ask yourself, if I wasn't protecting myself, what would I say? That answer is intimacy. And as we go through this work, we need to take radical ownership. This is the turning point. Instead of asking, why are they doing this to me? Ask, what is this revealing in me? Ownership is not self-blame, it's self-leadership. And believe me, leadership is attractive. And we need to realize that shadow work changes the dynamic. When neither person looks at their shadow, the relationship becomes a reenactment. Same wounds, same roles, and, more often than not, the same ending. But when even one person in the relationship does this work, the cycle weakens. Reactivity softens, communication deepens, and choice replaces compulsion. I can tell you that is not easy, but it is real. But no partner will heal what you refuse to face. No relationship will feel safe if you abandon yourself inside it. The deepest intimacy is not fusion, it's presence, and it's presence with yourself first. So here's your next invitation. Notice one relationship pattern you keep repeating. Don't judge it, don't justify it, just listen to it. Because patterns are not failures, they are messages. And next time we're going even deeper. We'll explore shadow work and attachment styles, how childhood wounds shape adult desire, and why avoiding your shadow is one of the fastest ways to destroy intimacy, even in a healthy relationship. And so if this stirred something, stay with me. This is not surface level healing. This is the work that changes how you love. And until next time, Don't ask for better relationships. Become someone who no longer leaves themselves. Because when the shadow is integrated, love stops repeating the past, and it finally meets you in the present.